You mentioned PTSD. Thoughts on that? You know, I've had Jocko Willink here, the U.S. Navy SEAL, and for him, he said, you know, he found a new mission, and he deals with a lot of guys that come back that have these symptoms, and he always encourages them to find a new mission to move forward. Do you think yoga is a way to process this, or are there a lot of other things going on?
I don't even want to attempt to go out there and start to try to understand or to act like I know what PTSD is, because we all experience it so different. For me, there was a lot of hard things that I had to go through. But the biggest one was through yoga, and this is something that, like, I love to be able to share this, to be like, this is all you have to do, but I don't think that's a possibility for most people. It's what got me through it, which it was basically one day I had it and the next day I didn't. One day I had it really bad and the next day I didn't. I said, this is not my story. This is not who I am. It's who I was. Those things happened as events. I'm different. And I let it go. Surrender. It's the analogy that I like to use, and this is not just for PTSD. PTSD is a really hard one because people can't let it go. It's so in there. Some people can, but most people it's a daily struggle.
Because it was such an emotional event, or something was so hyper reality that you can't. It's hard for them to let go, or it becomes part of their narrative, or what is it?
It's because I think it becomes part of their narrative. They associate that with who they are. So if I want to make a sandwich, I go to the cupboard, I pull out some flour, take out some water, some yeast, throw it on the counter, take some peanut butter and jelly, smear it on top, and I have a delicious sandwich. Right?
We didn't break the flour.
We did. Yeah, there's flour, water, yeast, all those things. You knead it together, make a dough, you let it rise, put it in the oven, bake it, and then now it's bread. Yeah. What we think, though, is we're bread now. We're the result of those things, but we're not those things. And you can never take bread and then break it back to what it was. So this is again not understanding what reality is, not being in the present moment, to live in the past. You're living in a past version of yourself that is not yourself. And once you realize that that's not me, yes, it brought me to what I am, but it went through a lot of changes to get here. And now that it is something completely different. And whatever it is now can never be what it was. When I realized that that's not me, so why am I going to associate with that? Why am I going to identify with those things? Yeah, I've grown from that. It's brought me here, but I'm somebody different now. This is also how we need to treat other people when we form relationships. We treat people like we know who they are by who they were, instead of who they are because of they're different. Every time you're with somebody, they're different. They're changing. We are dynamic people. The world is a dynamic place that's continuously changing, and you have to treat it as what it is now, which is a beautiful thing because it allows a lot of opportunities for people to be better, not to hold people to what they were. You know, we're horrible at that. We put somebody in prison and now they're a criminal their entire life, and we label them that. We don't let them change. Or somebody that's wronged you in a certain way, they're always going to be that person that wronged you in that way, that they're not allowed to get better and change. But then for you know all the shitty things that you've done in your life, and you know you're not that person. So why don't we, it's all these lessons that we learn about, okay, so that's not who I was, that's not who I am now, I need to let that go, works for everybody else, it's all this thing of understanding this moment, this window into the ever-changing universe that we get to see through, and we get to see things as they are. The second you step out of that, the second you start looking somewhere else, all kinds of things go wrong.
Would you suggest someone like start a relationship with their body though as something that's essential? Like whether it's yoga or any type of movement, or because it's such a practical way of
the body and the mind aren't different.
Right.
But they're one. So of course, if you don't feel good in your body, how are you going to feel good in your mind?